Hey guys, thanks for joining me for another Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia video. Today we are going to do an updated character guide on Core. If you've watched my channel, I already do have a Force guide on him, like with his Force weapon. But he now just got a BT, he got a rework. We got to show my boy Core off again. I can't get enough of this guy. He's one of the best characters in DFFOO history. I don't think there's ever been a time when this guy is not usable, because even if he goes like 8 months without a rework, dude, his off turn is still so good. Like, it's still ridiculous. His FR is very good. Just so much about this guy that's amazing. So I can't recommend him enough. I think people definitely need to get him. So in this video, we are going to look at his calls, his artifacts, and his spheres. If you're not familiar with Core, basically how he works, he's kind of like the ultimate off-turn attacker. So what he does is he essentially will link to one of your allies, give them a really good defensive buff that makes it so they can't be broken. And then basically anytime he or an ally that he's linked to attacks, he does a follow-up attack. Or an off-turn attack before the enemy does, or like before they attack. And then if the enemy attacks them, he will follow up for each player that is attacked who has that buff on. It's very good. He can do a lot of countering, a lot of off-turn. He has rainbow numbers. It's funny because I mentioned the rainbow numbers in a previous video, and then there's a bunch of new players that they don't know what rainbow numbers mean. So we'll talk about it. But yeah, rainbow numbers just means you do maximum brave damage. So no matter what, it kind of ignores everything and you do maximum brave damage. It's very powerful, right? So let's go ahead and start with the calls. These are pretty decent calls. It's just that Core's a character that he's just so nice in the party. I don't use his calls very often because there's other calls that I would prioritize over his. But what his 15 does, Moonlight Dawn here, it does give the caller brave damage taken down and HP damage taken down. So it's a little bit of a defensive one. It just only does it for the one character. If it was a party-wide, I'd probably use it a lot more. But for the actual character, especially if you have it on a lock character or a tank, it can just help them be a lot more defensive. And then it also makes it so you can't be broken. So that is very valuable, right? That's one of the cool things about Core, is that he's very offensive, but also very defensive as well. Which I really, really like about this guy. And then the LD, it's going to do a party attack and max brave up and overflow stolen up. So just some nice numbers. And I do believe the attack itself does rainbow numbers. I could be wrong, but we'll see that when we go through. But it might get rainbow numbers, but either way, it's just an attack. You're really looking at more of the buffs that you're getting. So some decent party-wide buffs. It's not like a top-tier call or anything like that, but I could see you getting some use out of it, right? All right, well, let's look at Core. And we're going to look at the artifacts and the spheres. His artifacts are pretty easy. So this is a character that is doing a lot of off-turn. He's attacking a lot. So you want to make sure he's got good attack and brave damage, because he's got to tick up and gain that brave so he can do more damage on the off-turn, right? So I would prioritize attack here. So we're going to go with attack 108 and then Sworn Warrior up 2-star, which is going to give him max brave and attack up. You want to get 3 of those if you can. So get that going right there. And then we're going to look at the spheres. So he's got 2 A slots and a D slot. It's a very easy character to kind of plot out, right? Because he's really, you want to go with typical attack damage dealer type stuff here. So the main stats you're looking for on the A slot is attack, brave damage up, and like physical attack or whatever type of attack that character has. But I'm going to say King Sphere is probably best in slot. The reason why is this is the strongest attack up in the game on a sphere, and Core is incredibly good at meeting the condition for it. So the thing is it only works when you inflict a break, but it is a 20% attack up. The standard raise on an A slot is 10%. Okay, so it's giving you double what a normal A slot would give you. It's just it has a little tougher condition, because like a 10% one would be like if you break or attack a broken target, which is pretty much every single attack, right? But you don't always have the opportunity to break. The reason why Core, this is so busted on Core, is he is following up and doing off turn pretty much on every ally attack and on every enemy attack. So this guy comes in and he steals breaks like nonstop. He is going to get like every break in the fight. So he's going to constantly be refreshing this King Sphere. So yeah, this King one is absolutely amazing on him. Definitely get that if you can. Otherwise, just go with other attack or brave damage up ones that you have available. So I believe like, what's his face? Noel. I think Noel is a pretty decent one. Something like Sephiroth would be pretty good. Now I have Jekt. Jekt isn't like a top tier one, but it's an example of a standard one because it's a 10% attack up. So if you can get attack or brave damage or both, or attack max brave combos are really nice as well. You definitely could do that. I know like the regular Jack Sphere, that one's an attack. Brave damage up as well. So definitely go with what you have available. So I did Ject just because that's what I had available, right? So as long as you get, I would say this, if you can get at least a 10% or higher attack on those A slots, I think you're good to go, right? Then on the D slot, you just want a party-wide attack up. I think Hope is probably best in slot here. Hope or Cisne, I think, are both really good picks because they are both max brave and attack ups for the party. And those are just two really nice stats to give the party. Now, you also have the option to do like Ash, Saz, Lise, anything like that would work. Do not do Luna Freya because that's weakness damage, which Core does not inherently do. But I think Hope is probably best in slot. So I like Hope there. And here's the thing, you guys. Hope just recently had a banner, that Machina banner. So if you pulled any Hope EXs, please hold on to every copy that you get. Because later on, and you might think this is crazy for a new player, but eventually you're going to get to the point where you have like extra red ingots to spare. And I've commonly done it where I just take old EXs that I've already maxed out. I max out extra ones to get the spheres. And Hope is definitely like a high priority EX you want to hold on to. If you've watched my character guides for like 2 minutes, I recommend Hopes all the time. So definitely save those EXs so you can get Hope going. But that's kind of my setup. I would say Hope and King are definitely best in slot. That second slot is a little bit more on that second A slot. It's a little bit more open-ended, but I think if you can get a 15% attack, that's probably what I'd put there. Which that might be what Knowles is. It might be a different one. I don't remember. But there's a 15% attack up out there. Just go through and read your spheres. It'll be pretty easy to figure out. All right, so with that, I think my core is ready to go. We have everything maxed out. We did get the BT. We got the BT equipped. Blue armor, Ultima weapon. This is maxed out. Let's go. Let's go. I'm excited to get into it. Let's just jump in and see my boy Cook here. Yeah, and we are going to showcase him in a defense comp. Now, here's the thing with Core. He's not limited to just the defense comp. This is just like my favorite way to abuse this guy. But he works great in any comp. You can use him with a speedy character and he's going to go crazy. But the defense comp is really fun. So this is something I was talking about previously that I think this particular team build is going to be kind of busted. So let's go and try it. We are going on the Ultimisia fight, which is notorious for being a very aggressive fight that shows off defense comps very well. So the reason why we're using Rubicante and Gao is both of these characters will double counter, which will help tick up Core's FR, and we really want to showcase Core's FR here really well. All right, so Ultimisia just jumping in right out of the gate, going crazy, and guess what? You're going to get countered immediately from my boy Gao and Rubicante, for sure. So what I'm going to do at first is I'm just going to show you Core's kit, and then we're going to do a proper setup to like blow this fight to smithereens is what we're going to do, right? So the first thing with Core, he's going to start off with a free skill use, and I recommend you just open with either Moonlit Dawn or Snowbreak. One or the other is fine. We'll hit Moonlit Dawn. Now, when you hit this, it's going to ask you to target a partner. So what it is he links to a character. And it's really important who you link to. Normally, you want to link to like your main DPS. That's usually who you want to link to. Now, we're doing a defense comp, and with the BT, you're going to find out you're going to end up linking with everybody. But we'll get there. So for now, what I'm going to do is, if you're doing a defense comp, typically there's going to be one character that's locking. You always want to prioritize linking to the character who has lock on, because when that character gets attacked, the link will activate. So we're going to link to Rubicante. Okay, so let me explain what the attack does. I'm going to explain what this linking does, all that stuff. So Moonlit Dawn is a party battery that scales on his attack and a brave HP attack. Now you're going to see Core's on-turn damage isn't that crazy, but this guy's like the off-turn king. Okay, so the ally is going to get Oath of Absolute Defense, which is a really good buff. So this is going to give the ally attack and max brave up, defense up, brave and HP damage taken down 80%. Oh, so it's brave damage 80% down and HP damage 20% down. And you cannot be broken, which is really good. Not being able to be broken is awesome. So that's pretty amazing. So now Rubicante has that. Now the other benefit that comes with Oath of Absolute Defense is now that Rubicante has that, anytime Rubicante attacks, Core will actually jump in and attack before him. So it's like an off-turn attack, right? If Rubicante is attacked by the enemy, then Core will also follow up before the enemy gets to attack, which is really busted because Core can jump in, break the enemy, and actually push them back and steal their turn in a sense, which is really cool. So the way I always open with Core, so we have the free skill use, just use Moonlit or Snowbreak and get yourself linked. Then your EX will be up and you want to hit EX. So let's go ahead and pop that. This is Lion's Roar. Let's see what the damage looks like here. Okay, 680k AoE. Just fine for core, because once again, he's not an on-turn damage dealer. Now, what this does is it does the attack skill use, or the big AoE attack we saw there. He is going to get a free skill use on his next turn, and then it gives him a buff called One of Luce's 3. And this basically is Oath of Absolute Defense for himself. So it's got a little bit more to it. So it's going to give him an attack up, max brave up, overflow stolen up, HP damage up, and then brave damage minus 80% and HP damage minus 20, just like Oath of Absolute Defense. Any buff he applies will now have an extra 2 turns on it, which is really good. And then he cannot be broken. So it's basically Oath of Absolute Defense with a couple of extra buffs on it. So now what this means, Core and Rubicante, anytime either of them attack, Core is going to follow up first with an extra attack. And then if Rubicante or Core are attacked, Core will follow up. And if the enemy doesn't all attack, and they're attacking both of them, Core's going to jump in and do 2 attacks. Okay? So just keep that in mind for later when we talk about the BT. We'll let Rubicante maybe ramp a little bit here to absorb Blizzara. That's fine. Actually, what I might do, let me just pull in Selfie quick. And we're just going to do a bunch of walls. We're just going to take Selfie in a ramp. So that way when I want to show FR, I'm just ready to pop it. I do kind of want to go through the rest of his kit, but we don't have much more of the show. It's going to go pretty quick. And then, so I do want to ramp and kind of get ready to go here. Because the show is going to start when we get the core FR, we get the BT. Oh my god, it's going to be ridiculous up in here. All right, let's do this. All right, we're going to wall again. Perfect. And then Selfie out. Nice. All right, back into Rubicante. Rubicante. I think Rubicante will hit LD here. Should we hit LD or should I just get the BT? Yeah, we don't want to go too crazy at the BT yet. Let's just do LD first. So see how Rubicante attacked? Core jumped in and broke the enemy. So once again, that activates that King Sphere, and he did a bunch of damage beforehand. And dude, the damage gets ramped up so much with FR, right? All right, so with Gao, we are going to go to, I always like Gao in Life Saver stance. If you want to understand Gao, I have a character guide on him that is totally updated to where he is. So just go ahead and look up Joe Wags Gao. It should pop up. But yeah, Gao's pretty legit here. And then, sure, we could just hit Landslide for fun, even though I already have it up. It's fine. So Gao now, he's going to have Landslide counters, and he's going to have Life Saver counters, right? So we'll just, yeah, we'll just go crazy with Gao. All right. And then there you go. So the enemy's trying to attack, and Core followed up. Now watch Ultimisia. This is an all attack coming. Oh, and of course, Rubicante gets confused. So we got to make sure that that's gone before we do stuff. But yeah, Gao's double countering. Like, this is going to be bananas. All right. And notice Core jumped in twice there. It's because Ultimisia was targeting Rubicante and Core. Oh, and you know what? I probably got to get... And then this is awesome showcasing Gao, because now Gao's healing us off turn. Like, so good. So good. Individually, their damage isn't good, but dude, it adds up so much. All right, so here's what I got to do. I should have this Raijin on earlier. We'll throw this on now, just so we can't get confused again. And I think I actually do have a pain call that I can get rid of that. Actually, I think Gao had that. I should have gotten rid of it. So here's what we're going to do with Core. Let's use the free skill use on the AA. So this is going to be a basic like attack up for everybody. And then we're going to show off the LD. So the LD, let's go ahead and pop that. This is going to be a free instant turn, and it's going to be pretty decent damage. All right, the LD itself does not have rainbow numbers. All right, but dude, yeah, 1.5 mil with some splash. That's pretty good for the LD. So the LD is going to, this is what gives him the overhead, which is that sword above its head, and it's going to put it at max stacks. Oh, I didn't even talk about the overhead, so I should probably do that. So this overhead, which is the sword above his head, it's a stacking buff that basically goes up anytime Core does a follow-up. So anytime Core does a follow-up, it goes up by 1, and it maxes out at 7. It gives him Brave and HP damage up. It does Party Attack and Max Brave up, Overflow Stolen up, Brave and HP damage up, and HP regen, which is really cool. When this is at max stacks, he gets access to a powerful HP plus called Reaper's Gale. This is also a free instant turn, and it is rainbow numbers. So let's pop that. So the follow-up won't have it, but the actual attack does. You see the rainbow numbers there? And so a mill AoE, pretty dang good for an HP plus. Rainbow numbers, for those of you not familiar, it just means you do the maximum brave damage that the character can possibly do, no matter what. So it doesn't care what their defense is. It doesn't care if they have a mechanic that reduces your brave damage to 1. You'll just do max damage. It's kind of like how Quina does max HP damage. This is like Quina, but for brave damage, right? So that's the rainbow numbers. And then let's go ahead. I think I do want to get his BT effect up. So let's go ahead and do that. Now, this is brand new to me. I haven't even seen this yet. Let's see what the damage looks like on this BT effect here. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. All right, what's the damage like here? It's kind of hard to see. Okay, like 1.5 mil AoE. That's pretty typical. All right, so we'll talk about that, but let's watch Core just go crazy as Ultimisia tries to attack us. Core's like, yep, follow up, follow up. It's going to get nuttier in a minute. We got to get our Rubicante unconfused here, which is going to happen very soon. All right, and that's awesome, like the off-turn breaking. Life Shaver, full health. Not to mention Rubicante, because of the sphere I gave him, he's also healing off-turn. So we got double off-turn healing here. This party's pretty awesome. This party's going to have to do some other Shinryus for me here. Alright, so we got Rubicante fixed, so now he's going to counter again, which is awesome. Alright, and then Gao, what are you going to do? Yep, counter Fire. So we got to get Rubicante's BT effect up. We got to do a little bit more setup. I'm not going to hit Beast Raid. I think we can just HP attack or keep hitting Life Shaver. Let's just HP attack. It's fine. So, like, all of these party members, like, the on-turn damage isn't that great. Like, Core did have a couple of nice attacks, like the LD and Reaper's Gale are very good. But for the most part, the on-turn damage here isn't that great. It's all off-turn that we're banking on here. Alright, so now we need to get Rubicante's BT rolling. So let's go ahead and do that. Alright, now keep in mind, with Oath of Absolute Defense, Rubicante cannot be broken, right? Alright, we're going to get back to Core, and we're going to talk about what his BT effect is doing in the really main draw of it that makes it so cool. Alright, so let Core follow up. Yep, you can go ahead and do that. That's fine. Counter you out. Alright, so Core's back up. So let's talk about the BT. So actually, before I talk about the BT, let me go back to Oath of Absolute Defense. So you remember at the beginning, we used Core, we linked up to Rubicante to give him Oath of Absolute Defense. Now, the way this buff works is if I were to say put Oath of Absolute Defense on Gao, it would remove it from Rubicante. So the base Oath of Absolute Defense, it can only exist on one other party member at a time. Now, there was an exploit for this that you could do, and you still can do it if you don't get the BT, where, let's say I put Oath of Absolute Defense on Rubicante. When I swapped out Rubicante for Selfie, I could let Core have another turn and put Oath of Absolute Defense on Gao. Since Rubicante wasn't on the screen, it wouldn't remove it from him, and then when Rubicante comes back, I would have Oath of Absolute Defense on the entire party. What the BT effect does is it just allows you to do that for free. So now that his BT effect is up, I can put Oath of Absolute Defense on Gao, and Rubicante is going to keep it, right? So what else comes with the burst effect is it's going to do a party attack up, brave damage limit up, HP damage up, and HP damage limit up. These are very good burst auras. These are things you want, right? And then Core can buff all of the allies with Oath of Absolute Defense. So let's just verify that. So Rubicante here, 3 turns of Oath of Absolute Defense still available. So what we're going to do with Core is we're going to do... Well, I got the free Reaper's Gal. Sure, let's pop it. Because he's doing so much off-turn. Like, in a really aggressive fight, you can almost Reaper's Gal every freaking turn. So now we're going to do Snowbreak. Which, oh, I haven't even done Snowbreak yet, so we probably should. Snowbreak on Gao. Okay. And now Gao has Oath of Absolute Defense. Alright. Now we're going crazy. And notice Core there, 3 attacks now. Because the enemies did an all attack, my whole party has Oath of Absolute Defense. So that's 3 follow-ups, and that's 3 stacks on the sword. So, like, 2 all attacks, and we've got Reaper's Gale again. Like, it's crazy. It's a little bit nutty up in here. Snowbreak is a party battery, AoE attack. He gets a buff called Crown's Guard Warrior, and that does put Oath of Absolute Defense on the party member. Crown's God Warrior is just an attacks and max brave up. Now, what we want to do is, you notice Gao got an 8-turn Oath of Absolute Defense. That comes from his EX buff that extends all of his buffs by 2 turns. So now we want to hit Rubicante again and refresh it because Rubicante is running low. So kind of what you do with core is you get your Oath of Absolute Defense up and you want to make sure the party members maintain that, right? Gao, we can just Life Shaver, that's fine. And then we're going to go FR is the plan. And actually, Rubicante, he's going to have a couple turns. I think I'm just going to get to Core's turn. We're going to go into FR and just watch this fight get absolutely demolished. And then I'm going to try to, on Core's next turn after FR, we're going to reapply Oath on Rubicante. But like all this counter damage, just insane, right? And once again, they're smaller ticks of damage, but we're doing a lot of them. But where this gets nutty, you guys, is when the FR is rolling. Sure, go ahead and jump turns, you know, Ultimisia. If you want to kill yourself, that's fine. We're just going to watch the game go in auto mode, and everybody's just going to go bananas here. So sure, Core's going to attack 3 times every time you all attack. My sword is maxed out. I've got a Reaper's Gale ready to go. Right? Okay, you can try to damage me, but I'm going to off-turn heal. Like with 2 different characters. Dude, this team is nutty. This team is amazing. Once again, it's got to be the right fight, though, right? Like, a lot of these modern Shinryus, they have so many mechanics where it's like, well, 0 damage. Well, this team isn't going to work if I'm doing 0 damage. All right, so Rubicante. Sure, we can Infernal. That's fine. BT effect is still good. Yep, we'll Infernal. Watch the enemies take a million turns. I mean, can I even get to Core to put the FR on? Are we just going to kill them without a Force Gauge? I mean, they're getting pretty low already. We got them in the 60s here. I'm going to have to find a new fight. This fight might not be strong enough. All right, Core's finally up. Let's get the FR rolling so we can talk about that. Because I believe Rubicante still should have a couple turns of Oath on. We're going to verify that, but I think he does. Rubicante. Oath. Yep, 2 turns of Oath. So I think we got enough wiggle room here. And then he's good on his EX buff. Sure. So let's hit the FR. All right, let's see the damage. This is where the enemies melt away. I can't guarantee how many more turns we'll even have with Core at this point. This fight is going to absolutely melt. This fight is going to melt like butter. Let's just see the damage here. All right, 2.3 mil. That, dude, over 2 mil AoE on a force attack's pretty good. And look at this. He's got rainbow numbers now. He's going crazy. All right, I just want to watch this with you guys, and then we'll talk about his force more specific. But watch this. We're going to get ticks with every counter attack. So 5%. Not a ton, but when we're doing 7 counters, you know, per all attack, like, it's going to be bananas up in here. Yeah, it's okay. Counter, counter, counter. I'm not touching my phone right now. The game's just playing itself. I do not have auto on, but that's kind of how these teams work when you get into the right fight. It gets crazy. Sure, go ahead and attack. What will happen is we will break them off turn and then steal turns that way, but yeah. I mean, look, Gao's going to go and then they got 4 turns lined up. This is crazy. And the thing is because this is like defensive and it's the enemies taking a bunch of turns, like our buffs just sit there and we just keep them. Like these BT effects just stay up. Yep. And then Core's got to renew Oath on Rubicante on his next turn. All right, let's talk about the FR. All right, so the FR is, I got to find it here. So it does the big AoE attack that we saw there as you watch Rubicante counter like crazy. So during the force time, party's brave damage goes up, and then brave and HP damage taken down to the party. So it's going to help us be more defensive. Core's brave hits have a 40% chance to be rainbow. And then the HP condition is any off-turn attack is 5%. And if you deal more than 9,999 brave damage on your own turn, it's plus 40%. Very simple and basic. So Gao will do Life Shaver. And as long as he deals over 9,999 brave damage, we get it. He did not. This is where rainbow numbers help, right? But we're getting all the off turn, and that's all that really matters. In Core, because he's got rainbow numbers, he will hit it when his turn comes up. And yeah, I will see. I would like to renew Oath of Absolute Defense on Rubicante. We'll see if we can get a turn. Like I said, at this point, I can't guarantee that we're going to get turns. But I'm showing you this is just one way you can abuse Core, right? You don't have to do it this way. Like, he works in any team comp. You can do a very traditional team comp is like core and a support character and a DPS. So if you did like core, Aerith, and Tifa, that would be a really ridiculous team comp, right? And it works. Especially with Tifa, because Tifa can, she has instant spam attacks you can do and like really abuse core, right? Just spam off attacks, or any DPS during a burst phase with a force gauge, you're getting all the core follow-ups. It's really busted. But yeah, so it's a very different type of team, right? It's not like a Tifa like, oh my god, I did 60 mil on one shot, but it's like we're just getting so many attacks. And the thing with this type of team, you don't even need Echo. We're going to get this thing up to like 900% because the enemies are just taking so many turns and all these small ticks just add up over time. Like, we're at 300% turn 9, we haven't echoed yet. And we still can. The thing that's really busted is Rubicante and Core can still echo. So on the off chance I actually get a turn, I can still do echo and not even deplete my force gauge. And like, you just make this last forever. Yep. I mean, the enemies might get their force. Well, no, they won't because I'm in mine. But, you know, the enemies got up to 80%. And then, yeah, with the off-turn healing that Gao brings, Rubicante doesn't naturally have it, but I did it with the sphere that I gave him. I think I gave him Minwu's sphere. I think Theodore would work as well. But I like Minwu's. Alright, Rubicante getting a turn. He still has 2 turns of Oath. What button do I want to press with you? Sure, let's echo. Why not? Let's echo. The ad might be dead already, by the way. And Ultimisia, I mean, if the fight ends, it's fine, because we've had Oath this entire time. I might not even get the chance to renew the Oath on Rubicante, because Ultimisia is going to go crazy here and eat a bunch of counter damage. Notice, right there, how Rubicante was at 0 Brave, got hit, and we did not get broken. That's Oath of Absolute Defense. Our entire party cannot be broken. Which, in itself, is a broken mechanic, right? Not being broken is broken. And yeah, that ad isn't going to be long for this world. Yep, there's the ad. The ad is dead. And we're at the point here, you know, 400%. Core just did a mill AoE with the counter. And you've seen how many times this guy attacks, right? Not to mention, typically, when you get into this mode, you don't even want to do Reaper's Gale because it just eats up a turn. But I could be Reaper's Galing pretty much every core turn at this point. All right, finally my opportunity has come. Finally, my opportunity has come. Now here's what I could do. If I don't mind eating up a force turn, let's do the Reaper's Gale and then I can refresh on Rubicante. Now the Reaper's Gale might just flat out kill here. Oh, no, you're going to, yeah, cut and turn order. That means Ultimisia's got 3 more attacks coming. I guess we're not going to get this turn. No, we're not. Unless we break Ultimisia before she dies. I don't know. The game just plays itself at this point. This is ultimate like core shenanigans right here. I think the thing that's so powerful is Rubicante now existing. Rubicante is like a huge... Because I used to do the same comp, but Gladio and Rubicante spot, which as great as Gladio is, his damage does not come anywhere near to what Rubicante's doing. And Rubicante's got Echo. And by the way, we just killed the fight and I barely pressed my phone. So... anyways, let me know if you think Core is busted. Core is a must-have character. I'm telling you all, do not skip this man. He is so freaking good. Let me know what you think of this monster. Thanks for watching. We'll catch y'all on the next one.